thank you for having me here this morning. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for coming from Tokyo.
Yes, yes, yes. At first you were supposed to be coming out to Tokyo,
Yes.
and when you told me how long it takes you, because you didn't want to drive out there,
Yes.
I said, okay, I'll come this way. And I couldn't have picked a more beautiful day. Blue sky, there's not a cloud in the sky. It's just really beautiful, and especially to be out here. Oh, your trees have changed. How long have you lived here?
I lived here since April 2015.
Okay.
I used to live in Funabashi in north of Chiba before.
Mm-hmm.
We built this house in 2011 and I used to come only on the weekend. Then in 2015, after the son went to the university, we decided to move here.
All right, because you have 3 sons.
Yes, that's right.
So the oldest went off to university.
Yes.
Okay, now where do you go? To the States, or is he still?
No, he's working for a company in Japan. He went to Waseda. And he took a long time to pass the exam to enter Waseda. So the first year he didn't do it, and he passed the second year, he achieved it.
Wow.
Yes, he went to Waseda. So
Beautiful.
to go to Waseda was a challenge for us too.
Yeah. But you're so proud of him, I'm
Yes,
sure.
yes, that's right.
That's
Yes.
good. What is he going to study? Do you know?
Well, he studied, now he's working for Dentsu, the company. He started this year in April.
So he's got a job too.
Yes, he started to work now. So
Okay.
finished.
Oh, because he
his-
finished. He
yes,
finished the
he
college.
Yes, yes. He
Right.
finished the university, everything finished, so he's working now.
Okay. How many years between him and his brothers? His next brother?
The oldest one is 25, the second one is 18 now, and the last one is 15 years. So 11 years between the first one and the second
And
one.
this, oh, I see. Oh, wow.
Yes.
That's so nice. Are they really close with each other?
The oldest one left when he was 18, so home when he was 18. So now he's not. He doesn't see his brother often. He prefers to have his own life.
Oh, does he?
Yes.
Okay. But when they were together, were
Yes,
they kind of
they were
close?
fun. It was fun. Yes,
Oh,
it was
that's,
fun.
that's
Yes,
good.
yes.
Now tell me, wait, first of all, why do the people call you the wine guy?
Well, some people used to call me the Eric the Cork. You know,
Eric the cook.
the Cork.
The cork.
Yes.
Eric the cork. Okay.
Yes. So some people call me the wine guy. So I say, okay, Eric the wine guy. That's fine. You know. So I like it. So.
But what's the reason? What's the reason behind
Well,
it?
because I supply wine to people. You know. So I supply wine to people since 1997.
That's your main source of basic business?
Yes.
That you do?
Yes.
Okay, wine. So where are they from mostly? I have to guess.
Most of my customers are. We have two kind of customers. We have the restaurant customers.
Okay.
We supply wine to the restaurant, so Japanese. Then we have Americans, Australian, British, other nationalities. Recently, we have lots of Indian people who like wine. So 10 years ago, not so many, but recently, I think the business in India for wines is growing up, and people have lots of interest for wine. So recently, I developed a relation with many Indian people.
Do you basically deal in only one type of wine, or do you deal with many different types?
I import only French wines.
Okay.
I used to work for a large wine company before. I used to work for a German wine company. We had 1,500 different type of wines. And to select the wines I'm going to sell today was too much. So now, since 2008, when I established the company with my wife, we import only French wines. Once I imported Spanish wines, but I feel more confident with selling the wine coming from my country.
Right, that's where you were born.
Yes.
Where in France were you born?
I was born in the southwest part of France, in the north of Bordeaux. Bordeaux, it's a big city, famous for the wines. It's the Gironde, is the name of the river going to the ocean. It's in a small place called Royan. That's where I was born in 1964.
Okay, do you have brothers and sisters?
I have two brothers, two younger brothers.
Okay, how much difference in age?
The second one, 14 months.
Very close.
Very close.
So you guys almost twins.
Yes.
They call that Irish twins.
Yes.
When they're born.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, and then the next?
9 years difference.
9 years difference. Are you guys close?
No.
No?
No.
Oh. Are mom and dad still around?
My mother is still alive. My father passed away in 2015.
Okay. They stayed together the whole time?
No.
Oh, they did not?
No.
Okay. So how was it when you were growing up? How long were you?
I left France when I was the age of 22.
Okay.
So I spent most of my times overseas for almost 36 years. I don't have a relation with my parents. I didn't have a relation for my parents for long, very long years.
So you're all on your own?
Yes, that's right.
Since you were 22?
22, yes, that's right.
So when you left, did you go to college or did you just leave France?
I never been to school. I stopped the schools when I was 14 years old. So for me to write and to read is the basic things I can do.
Okay.
Other mathematics or other subject, sorry, I don't have any knowledge.
I see. So how did you get into the business you're in then? Well, okay, tell me a little bit. What did you do once you left France? You're 22.
Well, I had a dream. I wanted to see the world because in a small place where I live, it's a resort, a sea resort. So lots of people coming in the summertime, busy from July and to the end of August. Then you have for 9 to 10 months local life of people. So when I was 16 years old, I started to work with my father. My father had a small company, construction company. He was building swimming pool. So I used to work with him.
Okay.
To work with him was no fun. No fun.
Not at all?
Not at all. No, not at all.
Did your brothers end up working for him too?
No, I didn't want to work for him.
When you left France, what did you do?
Well,
and where'd you go?
I wanted to see the world. When I left my parents' place, I went to live with my grandmother. She was kind enough to give me...
On mother or father's side?
My mother's side.
Okay.
I spent almost 2 years, and first I was so fed up with the life I had with my father. I lost my confidence. I didn't want to work for other people, so I just stay close to my mother. Then my grandmother said to me, it's time for you to look after yourself. So I started to work, as I mentioned to you, the summertime, lots of restaurants and lots of tourists coming. So I worked in the summertime for almost 3 months in a restaurant. I saved a little bit of money, then I bought a backpack and asked my friends to drive me to Bordeaux. He dropped me on a highway and I did a hitchhike. I went to Istanbul.
Wait, what year is this?
86.
1986?
October 86.
Okay. And you went to Istanbul?
Yes, I went to Istanbul.
Why Istanbul?
Because I wanted to go India by road, no plane. I didn't have the budget for that.
I see.
I don't have the budget for that.
So how long did it take you to get there?
To Istanbul, 7 days.
And you're doing this alone?
Of course, alone.
And you were how old now? 22?
I was 22.
22.
I never afraid. For me, it was the best. When I crossed the border in October 12, 86, was entering heaven.
A new world.
Yes, yes.
So how long did you stay in Istanbul?
I stayed 1 week.
1 week.
And then I wanted to go to Iran, Afghanistan, but at that time it was not possible to get a visa. So I took a plane. I took a plane to Pakistan.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Karachi, south part of Pakistan, and I spent about 1 month in Pakistan. Then I went to India, Nepal, Kathmandu. I went to the mountain, like close to Pokhara. Pokhara is the mountain, so I walked around the mountain for 2 weeks. Very tall mountain, so I enjoyed it a lot. At that time I was fit, I was about 58 kilos, so I could walk very fast. And then after I went back to India, then Bangladesh, then back to India, then Pakistan. And at that time was late 87, in September 87. The money was running very low.
Now, when you went to these places, you didn't work while you went there?
No, just traveling like a backpacker.
And where would you stay?
Very cheap, very cheap hotels.
Okay.
Like dormitory, very
Right.
cheap. Like you pay $1 or $2 a night.
Right,
You know,
right.
you share with other people. So you meet a lot of people. You know, foreigners coming this way. I come from that city. I'm going to that city. So we exchange. At that time, I couldn't speak English. No English at all.
Right.
So it was very difficult for me. You know?
So you started learning on the way?
Yes.
My goodness. Okay, so go on.
Then after, when I was in Pakistan, I had money trouble. So I was in Islamabad. I stayed in a camp. Somebody stole my money. So there was a very So until I could get back the money from the bank, the traveler checks, it took them 2 months to issue new traveler checks. So I stayed in a campsite for 2 months. So we were cooking with the wood and buying rice and tomatoes, and then after 2 months I got my money, and I went to the north of Pakistan, and I took the bus going to China in September 1987. When I went to, I crossed the Chinese border at 5,000 meters by bus. The most beautiful place I've ever experienced. It was a wonderful place to go. Then I went to Kashgar.
Okay.
And at that time, China was not like today, you know.
That's
so,
true.
I stayed again in dormitory, and I met a Japanese woman at that time. A Japanese, not my wife as today.
Okay.
At that time.
This is
Yes,
about to become a romance.
Yes, I met a Japanese woman at that time.
Okay.
So.
And you'd never known Japanese before?
No, never. I used to see them, lots of them traveling, you know.
Right, but you never...
No, I never had experience.
Well, how did you communicate with her?
Very, almost no communication. Almost no communication.
Okay. So how long did you know her?
We spent almost 1 month together.
Oh, really?
Almost, right?
So she was traveling too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So then you parted ways?
Yes.
And then where did you go from there?
Well, I went to different places of China. I went to the south part of China, a beautiful island called Hainan Island. You know, now it's a lot of, it's developed, but at that time was no big hotels, very simple hotels. So then my money was almost gone, so I had to go to, I went to Hong Kong. And in Hong Kong I couldn't find a proper job, so I met a French guy who was selling pictures on the street.
Okay.
So I went to sell the pictures on the street.
And how long did you do that?
A few months, you
Okay.
know. So when you do selling on the street, you have police come to you and say, move away, don't do this. So, but I went to different places, and sometimes they took me to the police stations, and then they gave me a fine, but the next day I went to different place, you know.
Okay.
So I had to survive, you know. When you have to survive, you have to find a way, you know.
Right.
So as long I didn't commit a crime, but just selling pictures on the street, you know.
Right.
Making the pictures inside this hotel room.
I see.
It was two pieces of glasses. You put water, color water, and you put sand, and and with bubble you upside down, and they make a shape, you know.
Yes.
When it goes down. So that's what I was selling this.
Oh.
So I could make on a good day 1,000 Hong Kong dollars per day.
That was good.
For me, it was good, you know.
Yes,
Oh, it's
yes,
good.
yes.
Yeah, it was good.
So you did that for how long? Do you
So
remember?
I spent almost 1 year in Hong Kong.
But only doing that?
Oh, I was also doing a little bit of modeling. You
Okay.
know, so
Is that right?
yeah, so living cheap, you know, no
Okay.
need to worry about the future, you know,
Right,
just by myself, you know.
Right.
If I have enough money for today or for next week, it's fine, you know.
Okay. So then you stayed in Hong Kong for how long?
1 year.
1 year, and then you went where? from
Well, I met a French woman,
there?
and we decided to go to Thailand for vacation. Well, I was always on vacation at that time, but sunshine, you know.
Okay.
So we went to Thailand. We went to Koh Samui. At that time was very cheap hotels. Was 40 bahts for one night, so $2 a night, you know, by the beach, you know. So I was enjoying to be with a girlfriend, you know.
Right.
So when you are 24 years old, what do you want? You know, you have beauty, you have a nice woman, so you want to enjoy life, you know.
That's true.
Yes, nothing else.
Yes. So how long did that last?
We spent 2 years together.
2 years together?
Yes.
In Thailand?
We went from Thailand, we went to Malaysia, we went to Indonesia, we went to New Caledonia, we went to Australia, New Zealand, then we came back to Singapore, again Thailand, then China.
Wait, now you made enough money to be able to do all of that?
Yes, yeah, well, I work in New Zealand, I work in New Caledonia, I work in Australia. You know, I was picking fruits in Australia, I was picking apple in New Zealand. I work in a construction in New Caledonia. I even work in a sex shop in New Caledonia.
Oh, okay. That
Yes.
sounds fun.
Sex shop.
Well,
you know.
did she work too? Did you?
She worked in a hotel.
Okay, in a hotel.
Hotel.
Okay. Well, was it the same hotel every place she went? Like it was a hotel chain?
No, it was
Or
a local in New Caledonia. So
Okay.
we had to find it was a challenge for us to find a work. You know, every time we go to a place. We had no visa, so work tourist visa. So
I see.
So.
So when was the last place you visited?
China with her.
China, and then from there.
From there, we split because after 2 years, the relation. She wanted to go back to France. I didn't want.
Okay.
I didn't want to get married with her. I didn't want to have a relation. She was a girlfriend, not a future wife, not just like this. Then I went back to Hong Kong, and I spent about 2 weeks in Hong Kong. I was thinking, what should I do? Then I said, okay, I go to Japan.
Just I'll go to Japan.
Yes.
Because the first girl you met.
Well, people said to me, you can go to Japan and work maybe as a teacher or work as I don't know. So I never been. I met a lot of Japanese. They were friendly, friendly, kind. Of course, the language is different, but also I like the face of a Japanese woman.
Yes.
Okay.
I understand.
Yes. Yes.
Totally.
Yes.
So then you came to Japan.
Yes.
What happened then?
When I arrived in Japan, I had to find a place. I went to Gaijin House on the first night.
But where?
In
Tokyo?
Tokyo, Ogikubo.
Ogikubo.
On the first night, I found a job.
Doing what?
I met a French guy who was working for a restaurant owner, a French owner in Tokyo. And he said, we are looking for staff. So if you want, you can start in a few days. I said, okay.
Did you know what you were going to be doing?
Making drinks.
Okay. And you didn't know how to make drinks, did
well,
you?
just when you have to survive, you have to find a job, You have to find a job.
So how did it work? How did it go? This is your job. You're supposed to be making drinks.
Serving coffee, serving, cutting the breads.
Right. So they were going to train you and bring you.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
I see.
I was working from 10:30 in the morning until 10:30 in the night time, non-stop, 12 hours a day. I was getting paid by the hour, 850 yen per hour.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, breakfast was served, lunch was served, and dinner was served. So
you were good.
Yes, I was happy.
And when you got to stay where? In there?
I was staying in the Gaijin House.
The Gaijin House, okay.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
That was life. So how long did you stay with us?
3 months, yes.
3 months?
Yes, because visa, I had to go outside of Japan. So I went to Korea for 2 weeks, then came back to Japan. I worked also for the same place in Roppongi.
In Roppongi?
Yes.
And how'd you like that? That was a whole different experience. What year
the same owner, but higher class restaurant. So
Right.
I had to learn how to be a waiter.
Mm-hmm. Right. Now, what years are we talking about now?
91.
1991.
Yes.
Okay. So you worked in Roppongi for how? You stayed with that company, you said only
Yes.
3
Well,
months.
for almost 1 year.
Okay, for 1 year.
Yes.
And then what led you from there?
Well, I went to different restaurants. I have to say I have a very difficult character. So to deal with me is always difficult. Emotional guys, and I always say what I think.
Right.
So for people, they're not used to
Hearing the
take
truth.
this.
They may not like being around you.
Yeah, well, I prefer to be honest,
Okay. That's good. I mean, in some cases, that's good. It's obviously been good for you because look at how you live now. It's
Well,
worked for you beautifully.
I had to work hard.
Yes.
Work hard. So I did this for this kind of lifestyle for until '96.
Okay. Where you were working in
Different restaurants.
different restaurants.
Yes. So a hard life.
And always with the same?
No,
own-
different.
different
I work in Italian restaurants. I work in a Mexican restaurant. There is a place in Hidoro called La Rolia. Maybe you know the place. The
I know it
restaurant
very
is still.
well. I live right by there.
The restaurant is still there. I worked there for 6 months. They had also one place in Yugaoka. I worked there.
Okay.
Then I went to Tony Roma in
Yes.
Kudanshita.
And what were you doing when you went there? Were you a cook when you went
No,
to La
I was.
Jolla?
I don't like to. I don't like cooking. I
Okay,
hate
so you
cooking.
never cooked.
Serving people. Then in '96, I met my wife in '95. She was telling me, "Why you don't try sales? Because you work long hours in a restaurant and your pay is very low." And we have a son now.
Oh, your wife.
Yes, we have a son. I mean, so our son was born in 96.
Well, how long after you met her did you guys have a son?
I think I made her pregnant before we got married.
Okay.
So
And did you get married before you had the child or after?
just before.
Just before. Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay. All right.
Just before.
Okay.
Just before. 2 months is before.
And you met her parents and everything? Too?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
They're very, very, very kind people.
Is she from Tokyo?
From Yamanashi.
Yamanashi.
Yes,
Okay.
Yamanashi. Kofu.
All right. So you got married, and then she said, "Get into sales."
Yes.
And
but
you said, "What kind of sales?"
I never done sales.
Right.
So I bought a Japan time, and I found a job advertisement for selling wines. So I applied for the job. I met a German who the meeting was at 10 o'clock. He opened a bottle of wine. We drank a bottle of wine. I was drunk. Then I said, okay, I'm going to work for you.
So how long did you stay with him?
2 hours to drink the bottle, you know.
You guys just sat there and drank, but he was getting to know you.
Yes, that's right.
And you were getting to know him,
yes,
so you
that's right.
found
If
out.
you want, I can serve you a glass of wine now. We can drink wine
That's
if you
a
want.
good way. That
Yeah.
was so nice. Wait,
Yes.
so he did that for 2 hours. You
Yes.
stayed with him and just talked about.
Yes, talk about everything. Then you say you talk to your wife. I say I talk a few days after. I say I talk with my wife. Let's start. Then he said I'm going to introduce you to the boss. So I introduced the boss. The boss is also German but fluent in French. Then he say we are going to give you a trainee. You are going to be a trainee. Okay. So I never sales. You know, as to be serve customers on a service and sell product. I never done this in my life. They gave me a telephone book. And you are going to laugh. They tell me what to say.
Okay.
I was saying the same things from morning to afternoon to get appointment. Hello, John. This is Eric from Wine Prospérité. I would like to invite you for a wine tasting. Is it good for you? Tomorrow at 5 or 6 o'clock. People say no. They hang up. Hang up, hang up, hang up, hang up. Then one guy say yes. Then I go. I go by car, find the address, find a parking space, carry my suitcase with wines, open wines, and try to sell. I was doing good. My life changed. I never wear a suit. I bought a suit, necktie, so I look at myself, I look better than what I was before. I used to work in the construction, so I used to serve customers. It was not me. I felt better with wearing a suit. I was maybe a better image of myself.
You
so
do wear a suit well. There's no doubt
I
about
was
it.
more confident. So I was. And then after 3 months, the boss invited. He wanted to meet my wife. He invited me to a French restaurant in Roppongi. He gave me an envelope, 50,000 yen plus. Then he say, we are going to increase your salary because you are doing good. Then after 6 months, he increased the salary again. Then gave me a big bonus. Then now you are going to be a star of the company.
So how did that make you feel? I mean, when you got that, I mean, did you go out and party, or did you say?
No, nothing. Just always not a party. You know, when you have to sell a product, and especially wines, is a challenge every day. People do not drink so much wines in Japan, and the price of the wines are more expensive than what you can find in US or in France. So you need to find the customers to buy your product. For example, a salesman who sells BMW cannot sell a Suzuki to his customers. You need to find customers of your product.
Mm-hmm.
So the price of the wines are about 5,000 yen per bottle, so I had to find a customer for that price. I went to banks, you know, people make money in the bank, so it was easy for me to
Find customers.
Customers, yes. And then I could find the first 9 months 180 customers.
Now, when you say you went to banks, what do you mean you went to banks?
Banks meet bankers to meet bankers, you know.
Oh, you go to see the bankers,
Yes,
the people
yes.
that worked in the
Yes,
bank.
yes.
Okay. Well, how would you get to appointments to be able to see them?
Well, just by telephone, you know.
Okay.
I just say, how would you like to meet me at 5 or 6 o'clock?
Okay.
People say, what do you say? I don't understand what you say. Your English is not good. I could say this, but sometimes the answer they give me I couldn't understand. The only things I was hoping is say, yes, come tomorrow at 5 o'clock.
So when you didn't hear that, you knew it probably wasn't a yes.
Yes,
And then you'd say, okay. And you do the next.
yes. And the next, and the next, and the next.
and the next.
Yes.
So how long did you make cold calls?
All
How
the
many
time.
years? How many
All
years?
the time.
But how many years do you
7
think-
years.
7 years.
For
you
this
did that.
company, yes.
You know, you have to have a very particular type of character to be able to do that. The reason why I know that, because I do that. I had to do something.
Never give up. The next call is your chance.
That's right. And never think no means no.
Yes,
That's just for that moment.
yes, yes. That
Next
moment,
time,
yes.
next time I didn't know. That was you supposed to. Now you may not feel the same way, so you always continue.
Yes.
People, it takes a different type of it takes a really special kind of person to have
Yes.
that kind of fortitude and be able to stick and go to it no matter what. And you had a drive. You had a purpose. What was your purpose? What was your goal?
The goal to have a better life.
And what is a better life? When you say better life, how do you? What you have now?
I wanted to build a house.
Okay.
I wanted to have more children.
Yes.
But I was under very high stress for selling. So I was working six days a week, sometimes 7 days a week. People want to have a wine tasting Saturday night. I go Saturday night. Come back midnight. Okay. So I used to come back midnight every night.
And your wife was tolerant of that. She understood.
She was waiting for me to have dinner.
That's beautiful. And you had your son
Yes.
still. He's
Yes.
growing. Your
Yes.
first son.
Yes, the first one.
Yes. And he was asleep every time you came. You didn't get to see him much.
No, I didn't. Well, in the morning time, a
Right.
little bit.
Little
Take the train to Tokyo, Shinagawa, 8 o'clock every morning. So, in the sales, there is no more emotions. You bring a result, they give you a promotion. You don't bring a result, you're out. So, I would say the company I was working was like kind of a killing field. They hired lots of people, and very few of them can make it.
That's right. That's right.
Very few.
That's true. That's for any type of sales, basically.
Yes, yes,
When you come in, like you said, it's result based.
yes.
They don't care
Yes.
what you come with or
Yes.
how good
Yes.
you look or how strong you are.
Yeah, no.
Do you get results or not?
Yes, yes,
Simple as that. And they'll
Yes.
show you.
yes, yes. It's as simple as this.
Really.
Life is like this, you know. Life has
Isn't
a
that the
salesman.
truth?
Yes,
But our society's changing that, but that's really still the truth.
yes,
So you did that for 7 years.
yes.
After that, what did you do?
Well, the company at that time, they say, if you are doing good, we can send you overseas. You can be, it was the goal, you said to me, we can send you overseas. It happens. In 2001, they sent me to Malaysia. It was a small company in Kuala Lumpur who was looking for a new owner. So Pirot, the German company, was interested. So we went, I went in July 2001. At that time I was welcome, so I could drive. I had what they call chauffeur, someone to drive me around the city and to visit customers. You know, the first morning I came to the office, I knew nothing about Malaysia. They give me a telephone book, I could make appointment already. It's just by calling people, you know. Say John, I call John, and here it's Eric. I'm coming from Japan. I import French wines. We have French wines. Would you like to have a wine tasting? Say yes. So it was what we did.
Wow.
And then I spent 2 weeks, and we went again in late September after the New York 9/11
9/11, yes.
at that time. So at the second time, the attitude change of the owner. He decided not to sell the company. So I went back to Japan, and I said, what I'm going to do. I don't want to continue this. I want to have a new challenge. I quit the company in 2004, and I was looking for a different job, something to sell a product, something who can make more money. I couldn't find. So I went again to the wine business. I went to work for a Swiss owner, very small company, and the salary was much lower. I was a star before. When I moved to a new company, I had to show who I am. So I spent 4 years there.
How old were you when you went to that new company?
40 years old.
You're 40, okay.
Yes. And my wife at that time, I wanted to be independent. My wife said to me, you always say talk about being independent, but you don't have the balls, you know, you don't have the guts to do it, you know. Then she said, you are going to regret, you are going to die because, and to look at yourself, you didn't achieve anything.
So you're giving excuses every time she said, you said, well, I need someone or something. You
Yes.
had an excuse every
Yes.
time for
Yes.
not being independent.
Yes,
And she was calling you on it.
yes. So we decided in December, I had a big fight with the boss. He said to me, I heard that you are planning to, because I was talking with my colleagues, you know, in Japan you should always keep your mouth shut. Always.
You know, so I don't think it's just Japanese.
Yes.
Any language. When
So-
you're going to make a move like that,
Yes.
you shouldn't tell anyone.
Yes. So in 2000, 2007, December, I had a fight with him, and I said I want to be independent. It was shock for him because I was doing good for him. Then I said I'm going to leave. So I we decided we applied for a license, to import a license. My wife did all the paperwork, and I established my company in 2008, May. Then I started to work from July 2008. The month of July was good. Then the Lehman shock came. All my good customers disappeared. You know, they all lose the job. They say, sorry, Eric, sorry, Eric, sorry, Eric. But if you have a will, you always find a way. Always find a way. Never, never give up. You know, somebody slap your face, you come back and you smile. You say, I'm going to find a way. So we started to call restaurants and make appointments to the restaurant. So to visit the customers with a suitcase, bring wines, and we could survive. And
so what type of restaurants would you go to?
French restaurants mostly.
Always French restaurants.
Yes, yes.
Of course, that makes sense.
Yes.
And mostly based in Tokyo?
Yes, mostly based in Tokyo.
Yes.
To make an appointment is not difficult. To visit them is not difficult, but most of them will say, I will think about it, kento shimasu. You know what does it mean, kento shimasu?
Yes,
no, thank you.
Of course, no thank you. Yeah, politely.
Yes.
That's a polite no thank you.
Yes. But some of them, you know, they say no thank you today, but you call again, you know. No,
that's how they were feeling that day.
Yes.
Today's a different day, right?
Then in 2010, I had a bit of saving of money, and then I was looking for a place to live, you know, to buy an apartment or house, and then I was searching over the internet. My dream was to buy a second-hand house in the countryside of Japan. I was thinking about Nagano, but Nagano is cold. So then we decided, we found a place here in 2010. In Japan, to get a loan when you want to buy a countryside, the bank do not want to give you money. So we had to find a company, a bank who gave us the money. So it took a long time. And we had the earthquake in 2011. Then we decided to proceed. We found a proceed and we built a house, and we live since here 2015.
So you started, it took you 4 years to build?
Well, the house was built in 2011, but my son was still going to the school before he entered the university, so we commute every weekend. So I was driving on a Saturday night from Funabashi to here. So we start the fire in the winter time, and then warm up the house and have lunch, and that's what we did.
Now you told me you designed the gate that's
Yes.
there, and you built the second shed by yourself,
Yes.
the first shed
With my neighbor.
with your neighbor, and in the back, what is that in the back?
Well, we have, I store my tools for,
and you made that by yourself?
with the help of my neighbors.
Okay, your neighbors. That's nice.
Yes.
That's nice. I see you have a bell on it too. What is that for? For supper time?
Well, there was a flea market in a small village.
And
I used to put it at the entrance.
Okay.
Then I put it here. I think the belt is quite good, you know.
This is nice,
good.
yeah, every now and then.
yes.
It's good if you have some emergency and you want to let everyone in the area know.
Yes.
That's good. So you have this house, which is a beautiful home, and thank you for allowing me to come inside and see it. But you made this fence too, and you said it's the shape of a well.
Yes.
You designed that?
Well, I had this idea, so I find what you call an artisan who made it. At first, he refused because he wanted to keep a straight here, you see,
I see,
and
yeah,
to
yeah.
cut.
Because
I
that
say,
takes time, yes.
No, it takes time.
Takes
so
time,
I
yeah.
say, if you don't do it, I will not sign the contract with you.
Good.
So he agreed. So then I wanted to have the shape, you know, it's quite nice, you know.
But it looks like it's redwood.
Yes.
That's really nice. That's a real nice design. Oh. Okay, so now that you have your home, you've done that, what are you doing nowadays? You and your wife started your company.
Yes.
You, after March 11th, we had the big earthquake
Yes.
and the Lehman shock
Yes,
and
yes.
everything.
Yes.
You've made it through all that.
Yes.
You have one son that's finished college now.
Yes. Yes.
What do you find yourself doing now, Eric?
I want to work as long as I can. Over 70 years old, I don't mind.
How old are you now?
58.
Okay, you're still a young man.
Yes, I don't mind to work,
Still a
you
young
know. For me, since 2020, March 20, it's the most difficult time we have ever experienced. The sales dropped. The restaurant stopped buying wines. The private customers didn't know what will happen, so some of them stopped buying wines because of the COVID. And I could not go out to meet people. You know, I'm a person who meets others. If you don't meet others, it's difficult to find customers. So by internet and by telephones, I try to call to find customers. Nowadays, you don't have a telephone book, so you go through a different type of platform to connect with people. So, but as I say, you know, if you have a will to survive, you find a way again. You know, never give up. So this is the most difficult time. But recently, I can go again to Tokyo and meet people again, and I see the sunshine coming back.
That's good.
I see the sunshine. So
That is so
I
sweet.
love my job. I love wines. I drink wine. I drink about 24 bottles of wine per month. Not by myself,
Okay, right.
with my wife. So I drink maybe more than half an hour, a little bit more than half. We drink one bottle with the dinner.
Is there any particular type? There's a red
Well,
or
red,
white?
white, we have. I open what I decide to.
That type. It depends on what you're eating too.
Yes.
Oh, that's
yes,
so good.
yes.
Now, Eric, there's a question I ask everyone at the end
Yes.
of the podcast.
Yes.
If you were to go back in time, and you could pick a time that you wanted to go back to talk to Eric,
Yes.
how old would you be at that time, and what would you tell him?
Well, I will do the same.
Okay, but how old would you wouldn't change anything?
No, nothing. I will do the same. I will do the same life again. I have no regret. I did what I wanted. I did exactly. I have no regret. I took a decision. And when you decide, you take what it comes with. You cannot change when you decide.
That is so true. Thank you so
You're
much,
welcome.
Eric.
Thank you.
Oh, fantastic.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for watching this podcast. Remember to press like and subscribe. Remember, it's all on loan, so continue to reach for the stars because you're too blessed to be stressed.